Morning, Malacañang Press Corps. Welcome sa weekly economic briefing. Today we have Assistant Secretary Chris Ablan to introduce our guest.
Thank you, Yusek Rocky. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Economic Press Briefing hosted by PCOO and the Economic Development Cluster of the Duterte Cabinet. We'd like to thank you, our friends from media, as well as greet those watching in PTV and via Facebook Live in the FB accounts of PCOO, the Department of Finance, the Department of Budget and Management, and other member agencies of the EDC at the moment. We also have ASEC Tony Lambino from DOF present during this press briefing. Before we proceed with today's briefing, we're proud to say that with the effects of our campaign for real change and the unprecedented fiscal spending of our government, we are able to continue to upgrade our economic engine. Our record-high spending is a testament to the commitment of the Duterte administration to give a comfortable life to all Filipinos. Today's guest needs no introduction. With him at the helm of DBM, underspending in the national government has been eliminated. More so, the Philippines scored 67 out of 100 in the 2017 Open Budget Survey, being the best in Asia and 19th in the world. It is also because of him that for the first time in our history, national government allocated a budget to operationalize the constitutional right to access government information. This speaks to his advocacy in improving efficiency, transparency, and accountability in the bureaucracy. Without further ado, please welcome the diligent Secretary of Budget and Management, Secretary Ben Jokno.
Thanks for calling me diligent. Okay. I haven't heard of that description. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for having me, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all of you. I'd like to make some preliminary statements on the implications of a reenacted budget for 2019 rather. If you recall, we submitted the 2019 President's budget on the day President Duterte delivered the State of the Nation address. Article 7, Section 22 of the Constitution says, the President shall submit to Congress within 30 days from the opening of every regular session as the basis of the General Appropriations Bill, a budget of expenditures and sources of financing, including receipts from existing and proposed revenue measures. As you know, we did not wait for 30 days before we submitted the budget. We submitted on day one, as we did with the 2018 budget. Unfortunately, it took the lower house 4 months to pass their version of what's called General Appropriations Bill. Given the limited time, the Senate deliberations and the bicameral conference committee are set for next year. So now we are faced with the prospects of a reenacted budget, at least for the first quarter of 2019. Under a reenacted budget, no new infrastructure projects can start because the capital outlays component of the previous year's budget cannot be deemed reenacted. Only the personal services and the maintenance and other operating expenditures are deemed reenacted. Capital outlays, let me repeat, are not deemed reenacted. The reasoning is straightforward. You cannot fund and finish the same project twice, right? Hence, new projects will have to wait until the 2019 General Appropriations Act is passed into law. However, large projects, which are covered by what we call multi-year obligational authority, or MAYOA, will not be adversely affected. So the large projects like the subway, the PNR long haul will not be affected, okay, those large projects. At the same time, the internal revenue allotment for local government units, some 600 billion, and debt service will not be affected as they are automatically appropriated. and therefore they will receive the budgetary allocations based on the 2019 National Expenditure Program. Meanwhile, personal services like salaries, wages, pension and retirement and the like, and the maintenance and other operating expenses are deemed reenacted. But they will be based on the 2018 level. This means that salary adjustments for civilian and military personnel, which are programmed for 2019, will have to wait. I repeat, the fourth tranche of the salary standardization for government employees will be deferred until such time the 2019 General Appropriations Act is passed into law. We estimate that in total, a reenacted budget for the first quarter of 2019 will reduce total disbursements by an estimated 44 billion for 1 quarter, if it's delayed by 1 quarter. However, if it's not passed at all, so on a full year basis, it will reach 219.8 billion or 220 billion. A reenacted budget will be detrimental to the economic growth and development objectives of the Duterte administration. The government intends to ramp up investments on public infrastructure, poverty alleviation, and social services. And we are hopeful that the legislators will see the urgency and wisdom in passing at the soonest possible time the national budget for 2019. Thank you, and I'm open to questions now.
Okay.
There's one there at the back.
Okay. I think
Yeah.
there's a video.
There's a video?
Yes.
Okay, let's listen to the video. I didn't know there's a video, so.
Sinasabi na meron daw 51 billion na insertion. Hindi totoo yun. Actually, ang adjustment na ginawa namin is not 51 but 75 billion. Nag-submit ang DPWH ng budget sa amin as required sometime in March. Ang kanyang sinubmit total 652 billion. Yung tinatawag namin Tier 1, yun yung continuing program. Yung mga ginagawa na nila previous years na dapat matapos. No? So, binigyan namin sila initially ng 123.9 billion. Tapos, dun sa Tier 2, ito yung mga bagong proyekto nila, ang amount nun is 528 billion sinubmit ng DPWH. So, nireview namin yun. So, nagkaroon kami ng approval na Tier 2, 356.2 billion. So, Tier 1 plus Tier 2 ay nagkakahalaga ng 480.1 billion. Ngayon, kami naman yung tinatawag na Development Budget Coordination Committee, meron kami mga parameters, yung mga anong kailangan ng budget. So, nagkataon naman na meron pa kami tinatawag na fiscal space, meron pang available na extra money. So, on that basis, in-adjust namin yung budget ng DPWH. Dinagdagan namin ng 75.5 billion. So, ang total budget niya na nakalagay doon sa President's budget ay 555 billion with the 75 billion. Ang proseso kasi is we prepare the budget, yung tinatawag na budget preparation phase. Tapos, pag natapos yun, pag na-approve na ng Presidente, yung President's budget, we send it to the House. Yung sinasabi na insertion ay nangyari yun sa executive, but it's not really insertion because the budget is not final until it's approved by the President. Hindi mo naman may tatago yung adjustments no? Kasi you just compare the President's budget with the General Appropriations Bill as prepared by the House, and line by line, kikita mo kung saan nagkaroon ng adjustments.
MPC questions, Raymond Tinasa.
Sir, just to be straightforward, sir, after all what have been said and explained, yung na hindi insertion, but because of this very, kumbaga, napakalaking impact sa budgetary natin and expenditures by next year because of the reenacted budget. Aside from the road users tax na allegedly ay hindi niya nirelease, ano pa nga ba yung, kasi lumalabas nagiging parang personalan na at naapektuhan yung buong bansa sa personalan between you, perhaps against Congressman Suarez and Congressman Andaya. Ano ba yung parang hugot or parang axe against you, this gentleman?
Well, I think two things. No? Gusto ko paliwanag yung pinakitang video. No? Why I adjusted by 75 billion. Kasi in our parameters, yung sinasabi kong parameters ng DBCC, the infrastructure as percent of GDP should be at least 5%. 5%. Kasi yun ang plano namin. From 5, gagawin namin hanggang 7. Yun ang build program. No? Because I look at the numbers, during the last 50 years, half century, we only devoted 2.6% of GDP sa infrastructure. That's the reason why we complain about traffic congestion, lacks of bridges, etc., failing mass transit system. In the last administration, they have not constructed a single kilometer of railway. Not a single kilometer. Our plan is to construct more than 1,000 kilometers of railway. Okay? So talagang ambisyoso yung programa namin. So when I said, teka muna, bakit kulang pa yung sa DPWH budget? 480, no? That's why I look at some, we have more money, we have tawag doon fiscal space. Sabi ko, dinagdagan namin ng 75 billion to make it 555, right? 555 eh. Like famous sardines, no? 555. No? Plug yun. So yun. So yun. In fact, nagugulat nga ako, bakit he was talking of 51 lang? Eh sabi ko nga, 75 na yung dinagdag ko eh, 75.5. That is not necessarily an insertion. That is part of the process, no? In fact, I remember in 2017, kasi nga under the Constitution, education should get the number 1 share in the budget, if you remember. So dinagdagan ko rin si Liling Briones ng budget for school buildings, okay? Without her asking, dinagdagan ko lang, diba? To comply with all these requirements. But as long as it happens within the executive department, in the insertion ang tawag doon, that's really the President's budget. And I'll reveal you something which is supposed to be confidential because when we talk about this in the cabinet, maliwanag na sinabi ni Presidente, this is not your budget. Hindi budget ni Secretary Villar yung pinigay sa kanya, or this is not Liling Briones' budget. This is my budget. Okay? And if you cannot live with it, you might as well think of resigning. Kasi hindi naman talaga budget yan ng individual secretaries. That is the President's budget. In fact, I reminded him of a situation in the U.S. under President Lyndon B. Johnson, where one of his secretaries lobbied with Congress, asked for more. Finar niya yun because that's a no-no. You're not supposed to make bilateral deals with Congress, okay? Because that weakens the presidency vis-a-vis Congress. All right? So, again, back to your question.
What was yung
Yung hugot nila.
naging personalan na kasi
Yes, dalawang bagay
eventually.
lang. To me, what happened is, of course, they are supposed to prepare the GAB. That's the job of the House. Only the House can prepare a general appropriations bill. The Senate cannot. Okay? So that's under the Constitution. Ngayon, yung GAB, pinadala na nila sa Senado. Although late, but nasa Senado na. Nakita ni Ping yung discrepancy ng President's budget and the gap. Doon lumalabas na there's something like 2.4 billion na bumukol doon sa distrito ni GMA at saka sa distrito rin ni Andaya. So, he was trying to ask them, please explain. Di ba? Biglang, instead of explaining, ako naman ang binanatan, di ba? That's number one. Okay? Alam mo, natural lang yun eh. They can actually, the House or the Senate can approve our budget, the President's budget, and toto. They can mangle it if they want to, make amendments. Hindi insertion ang tawag doon, amendments. They can amend the proposal, and then we don't mind. No? Tapos na yan. Kasi meron naman kami defense on the executive. The President, only this President, not even the U.S. President, has what is called line item veto power. What does that mean? He can cross out any changes from his budget that he does not like, and then sign the budget, and that's okay. No? But if, for example, Congress proposes some amendment to our budget, and we find it an improvement or superior to our proposal, we let go. That's historically done. No? This is the 10th budget that I have prepared in my entire 32 years in government. 5 Kikori, 2 Ki-ERAP, and this is my 3rd budget. 10 budgets. And that's the process. We don't mind if they change or make changes in our budget proposal because, as I said, we have that fallback position. All right? So now, in the U.S., to make this story complete, the President of the U.S., if I remember, Bill Clinton, tried to get that line item veto power. He asked Congress to pass a law. That law was struck down as unconstitutional by the federal Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said this is going to change the balance of power. So yun yung situation sa kanila. So right now, our budget system, if you notice, is much different from the U.S. The President has line item veto power, and meron tayong reenactment clause in our Constitution. In the U.S., they don't have reenactment clause. Which means, pag hindi nila napasa yung budget, nagsasara yung mga opisina. Okay? They close down parks, offices, etc. Okay?
So, yun yung pala kasimple. If they just scrap or reduce yung kine-question na insertion or whatever, okay lang naman sana. Pero, meron ba silang hiningi na hindi na pagbigyan ng executive? Kaya tigas mukha na hinarang nila may pasa yung budget?
Yung road users tax, yun yung pangalawa. No? Talagang, but that was upon the instruction of the President. We had a congressional legislative executive meeting here in Malacañang. Naroon ng mga Senate leaders, House leaders, and we said, there's something wrong with this bill, yung road users tax. Now, why? Because this is off budget eh. It's not part of the general appropriation. It's off budget. Whatever is collected by the responsible agencies, and we collect something like, if I remember right, 1.5 billion every month. Okay? So right now, ang balance noon is around 45.6 billion. No? Yung amount na yan. Alam mo kung sino nagdidesisyon lang doon? Is a small group of unelected officials katulad ko. No? Ako, si Secretary Dominguez, Secretary Togade, Villar, and then I think 2 or 3 other presidential appointees. There's something wrong with this. Sabi ko, why not give this power to Congress? Sila na lang ang mag-appropriate, no? Why give it to us? Kasi tiningnan namin yung record nitong motor vehicles user charges. Yung road board kasi was cited by COA for misappropriating, abuso, something like 90.7 billion pesos. Alam niyo gaano kalaki yun? That's 90,000 million pesos. 90,000 million pesos. Misappropriated. Kasi nga, ginamit yan nung, at the peak of the GMA nung kailan ba sa tumakbo nun? 2004. Ginamit yan, the buong bansa is like, you've seen sweepers, di ba? That's not road maintenance, di ba, in the first place.
Yung bibili ka ng mga walis, and then lalagyan mo, bibigyan mo yung uniforme, and then, yeah, and then you have bloated, magpipirma ka lang doon eh. Di ba? That was the tenor of that findings by COA, that 90.7 billion pesos was misappropriated. And then, sumunod dyan, nung time ato ni, who's this commissioner, who's the chairman? Si Puno. There's a Puno somewhere. And that was in fact cited by the late Senator Miriam Defensor, yung misuse ng road fund na yan. And so I decided na hindi namin talaga rireleasan until that issue of the abolition of the board is settled. Ang nangyari naman doon, the House, the Senate passed a law in compliance with our agreement, abolish the board. Sumunod ng House, okay din naman sa kanila. They abolished the board. This was during the time of Speaker Alvarez. Now, merong disagreeing provision. Usually, pag may disagreeing provision between the House version and the Senate version, then you form a conference committee, what I call the third chamber. No? So, naramdaman nila, because of the change in leadership, naramdaman nila na ayaw makipag-meet ng House sa Senado. Gusto nilang i-retain yung road board. Sinong author nitong na ito? Guess. Si Suarez. Okay, si Suarez ang author nito eh. So he's trying to protect the road board, no? So, yun na nga, nang naramdaman ng Senado na they're not willing to sit down to thresh out the differences, inadapt na nila yung House version. The Senate adopted the House version so that since there's no more disagreeing provision, that should be automatic. Diba? Wala nang disagreeing it. So adopted na yung House version, and the next thing is they will send it to the President. And the President is just willing to sign it. Nantay na lang niya. Hanggang ngayon hindi pa. In fact, the House, pagpasok ni GMA, ni-rescind nila yung kanilang approval. No? That's the status of that bill right now. Yun ang dalawang. To me, those are the two counts where they didn't like my
Okay. Henry.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, Secretary.
yes.
Binanggit niyo si Congressman Danny Suarez ang
He's the author of that road users tax.
at siya rin po ang dumikdik sa inyo sa Kongreso.
Siya rin po yung namagaypay nung panahon ni GMA. Naging head ng road board.
Opo.
Namayagpay.
Namayagpag.
Sorry, ano ba sinabi ko?
Ah. At siya rin secretary ang siya rin secretary ang dumikdik sa inyo sa Kongreso noong question hour.
Yes.
Tama bang may binanggit siya na buti walang kidlat dito?
Walang?
Buti hindi kumikidlat dito. Tama, mayroon yata
Yes.
pong
Alam mo,
something to
hindi
that
siya
effect.
makapaniwala na in our family gathering, we do not talk politics. Hindi naman ako politiko eh. We don't talk found from the Tagab. Di ba pinapaliwanag nila yon? Ayaw nila paliwanag, akong tinira nila. Di ba?
So, sir, would you be able to tell us any additional circumstance dun sa meeting na yon? Meron bang specifically naghingi ng pera dun sa na i-release na? Dun during the meeting that you said?
Marami nang lumapit sa akin. I won't name names, no? Marami nang lumapit sa akin na politiko na tinatanong yung status nga ng road users fund na yon. Kailan ma-release and so forth. Sabi ko hindi ko i-release yan until that issue on the road board is settled. Okay.
Sir, kahapon po si Spokespanelo sabi niya, the President presumably was the one who told you not to attend anymore the hearing. Since you're here and we want to get it straight from you, sino sir yung sabi na wag ka na lang umattend for...
Di ba nagkaroon kami ng Christmas party last Friday and then I won't tell you the names, parang sabi ng we'll reviewing the protocol kasi we don't want you to get the same treatment from them. Sabi, di ba, it's not a regular hearing, it's a question hour. First time nangyari yan. In my 32 years of public service, question hour, under the rules, I can actually opt not to go there. I can just give a written response. But I insisted. Sabi niya, okay ka lang? Sabi ko, yes, sir. Because I thought these are honorable men, I've worked with them for 32 years. So they prepared 18 questions.
3 days. Sabi ko, pwede bang extend yung 3 days? Hindi ko masasagot lahat itong mga 18 questions na ito. But ayaw nila, no? And meron pang Saturday, Sunday, so wala namang opisina yan. And you have to go through it. So, I still went there, no? So then, hindi na niya ako tinanong doon sa 18 eh. Na-ambush ako talaga. So that kind of behavior or on their part, we don't want to repeat. Di ba sinabi ni Presidente, pag binastos kayo, you walk out. Ang mangyayari nun, ikukontempt ka pagka you walk out. Eh baka pupunta pa si Presidente doon, he will take me out of the... I want to avoid that crisis. Kakahiya naman, di ba? So I went there, no? And I just kept my cool under very tremendous pressure from the questions. I tried to answer all the questions, okay?
Sir, but for the January hearing, it was the President who told you na wag na lang, umaten.
More CES.
Yes. But of course,
Okay, Darrell?
Ay.
Ay,
They were reviewing the protocol, sabi niya. You don't
okay,
have to
wait,
go
si
there.
Joseph pa daw.
Sir, sorry, last 2 questions. Sir, between the National Expenditure Program, your proposal, and then what the
You know, actually, the Constitution says the President shall submit a budget of expenditures and sources of financing, BESF. Wala nakalagay doon na magsasubmit kami ng NEP. But we submit a NEP para lang tulong nga sa Congress kasi medyo makapal yun eh. So to help them, we submit a draft of a NEP. But it is their job to come up with a bill out of that NEP. Okay?
Right, sir, between the NEP and then the GAB, would you be able to tell us the difference between the two?
Yes, I can tell you. Meron kaming stuff. We do that all the time. Kaya nga after this one, diba, GAB, no, pumunta sa Senado. The Senate will have its own version.
Correct.
Definitely. That's they will propose amendments and then they will reconcile. Kaya ano pa lang, stage 1 pa lang yun eh. Yung GAB na yun eh. Stage 2 sa Senado. Stage 3 doon sa third chamber. Minsan 4 eyes only yun. The chairman of the finance and chairman of the appropriations. And then they will come up with an enrolled copy. Yun ang kinukumpara namin with the president's budget.
Yes, sir.
So yun ang final. No? Kaya nga, the framers of the Constitution are smart eh. They have 2 chambers checking on each other. Kaya nga, legitimate yung concern ni Senator Lacson eh. Pinapaliwanag lang naman niya, ano bang ginawa niyo rito, di ba? So dapat kasi talaga they check on each other, the House and the Senate. As a collegial body, one Congress shall come up with a proposal.
Okay, sir. I'll let that go. Doon po sa mga nag-follow up sa inyo na mga Kongs ng status nung sa road users tax, kasama po ba dyan yung dalawa yung, well, let's be specific, Congressman Andaya and Congressman Suarez na nag-follow up?
Lots of congressmen, yes. Kasama doon.
Nag-follow up po sila. And then you said kanina, sir, yung medyo yung term nyo, yung pong si Congressman Suarez, during that time, ano yung namayag?
He was the chairman of the road board during the time of GMA. You can check the records, no?
Correct.
You can go in Google.
And what did he do at that time, sir?
Well, all those 90.7 billion misappropriation na sinasabi ng COA, most of those happened during his term.
Sir, is it 19.7 or
90. 90.
Oh, okay.
90.7.
All right. Okay muna, sir.
Okay, thank you, Joseph. Darrell?
Hi, sir. Good afternoon. Sir, Senate President Tito Soto said yesterday that he will transmit the road board abolition bill to Malacañang even without the signature of Speaker Arroyo. So how does the executive plan to deal with this deadlock between the
Now, if
two
we get
chambers?
the enrolled copy of the bill, it will be looked into by the Executive Secretary's office before it goes to the President. Okay? So, I assume, matagal na inaantay ni Presidente yan, pipirmahan niya yun.
Sir, after everything that happened, the 2 lawmakers who grilled you are allied are identified with the speaker. So how would you describe the House of Representatives under Speaker Arroyo? And do you think that the change of leadership was something that's good?
Yeah, the facts speak for itself. No? We didn't have problems with the first two budgets of the president. It was actually done before December. About this time, tapos na kami. Okay?
So, sir, what are the thoughts of the president?
In the morning, you can see the minutes. Hanggang 2 o'clock, nagmi-hearing sila eh. Sabi niya, talagang hindi ho namin kayang tapusin. So, pinagbigyan na lang namin. So, we decided na, wag na lang muna. We decided na, not to call a special session.
Pero you would have wanted sana na nagkaroon
That was our first best option, to call first. Because no government should have a reenacted budget, I think. No? If you can prevent it, you should shoot for. Kasi again, in the US, kasi nga, doon mas mataas kasi ang pressure na kasi magsasara sila ng mga opisina. They work Saturdays and Sundays, and even Christmas Day. Okay? Kasi malakas talagang pressure nung But sabi ko, sige, pwede naman siguro na they promised that they will reconvene on January 14, and ang plan nila is approving yun before the end of January, yung budget. Which is okay. Kaysa naman magpapagurin mo nga naman yung mga
So ang earliest na magkaroon tayo ng bagong budget, February.
Siguro mga middle of mid-Feb. Kasi hindi naman kagad-agad. So let me walk you through the process. Let's say they approve it last day of January. They will have to go to the printing press, no? That's about a week. Ngayon, pagdating nun sa amin, hindi naman naman pipirma kagad ni Presidente yun. Sabi ko nga sa iyo, bubusisiin namin yun, line by line, no? Yung tinatawag na statement of difference. So, line by line. And then so we decide on, shall we veto this or shall we let go, etc. So we will have some criteria on whether to veto or not to veto. Like, for example, if it's an improvement over our proposal, let go lang yun. But if it's really, it does not belong to our priorities, or it's, in fact, it goes against our priorities, probably veto ko talaga yan. I will propose a veto. No? So it takes about another week yun. No? And then, merong requirement kasi ang batas that you need 15 days, no, after the signing for the law to take effect. So mga nasa March na yan siguro.
Last question sa akin, Sec. You've mentioned yung figures already, no, tsaka yung possible effect ng reenacted budget. How would you describe then yung extent ng effect ng reenacted budget for the first quarter?
First quarter,
kasi sinabi niyo yung mga figures. So how would you describe? Ganun
219.8 billion yung mawawala eh. No? Pagka full year yon. Kung reenacted, around 43.7 billion.
First quarter.
Kasi hindi pa namin naka-quantify dyan. Kasi the ideal months for construction are the first 6 months of the year. So yun yung seasonality. No? So baka malaki din ang epekto nun. Right now, ang lakas na ng momentum ng this administration. I can say that this administration in its 2.5 years has done more than any other administration, no, in terms of infra. Okay? So yung momentum na yun, baka medyo mag-slow down nga because of the reenactment.
Salamat,
Okay,
Sec.
Dreo Calonso, to be followed by Celerina, then you and Bernard.
Hi, sir. Moving forward, do you see this same problem recurring in the future budgets that you will prepare? Because these are also the same congressmen who
No,
will...
I'm hopeful na hindi na siya mangyayari kasi there's going to be a new Congress. Di ba? May election tayo eh. So the midterm, there will be a new Congress. Hopefully much more, much friendlier than this one. Okay. Friendly naman tong Congress na to. Okay.
And then, sir, of course, there's this call to replace you from the House of Representatives.
That's
So,
settled. Wala na yan. Di ba?
so, sir, is somebody eyeing your job from the House?
That's speculative. They can have my job if they want to. I did not apply for this job, okay? But I serve at the pleasure of the president. Okay?
Sorry, last na lang po. Senator Lacson was saying that there's this new pork parking scheme where congressmen give... I don't know the mechanics, but what do you know
again,
about this?
I think this is part of the job to divert attention. I'm sure this is not the last. No? They will come up with new accusation para wag nila sagutin yung tinatanong sa kanila ni Senator Lacson. No? That, to me, that's alien, yung parking, no? I don't know about parking.
So ito po yung, these are among the changes that they did from the budget you submitted to the budget they crafted.
Yes.
So yun
But-
yung difference.
But that's internal to them eh. Hindi
Okay.
ko alam kung, kasi I think that is more applicable to party list representatives. Kasi wala silang distrito eh, di ba? Wala silang constituency. So siguro they will talk, I'm just speculating here, no? They will talk to a congressman, so pwede ko bang i-park dyan yung project na ito or something like that.
But you compared the president's budget with the gap they prepared, right? So
Mm-hmm.
didn't you see
Actually,
this kind?
hindi kami. Ang nagko-compare niyan is the Senate. Okay? What changes did the House did? Pwede namin gawin. Pero I know that it's not final. So why waste my time? Di ba? Di ba? I have a lot of things to do. Bakit? Babaguhin nila yun. Binago nila yun. Dadating sa Senado, babaguhin din ng Senado. Tapunta sa third chamber, babaguhin din nila doon. And gusto ko na makita yung kung anong product nila, di ba? And then I compare those, no? You cannot compare it at every stage. That's time consuming, okay? I have better things to do.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, mag-last 4 questions tayo, ha? Celerina, Rose, Bernadette, then Ina.
Sir, good morning po. You have mentioned that you're expecting na more issues would be thrown against you. Ano pa po ba sa tingin niyo yung maaaring iba?
Not necessarily against me, but other issues like yun na nga, yung parking. Walang kinalaman sa akin yan, di ba? And let me explain, no, the process, no. I'm responsible for preparing the budget. No? That's primarily my responsibility. And then I'm responsible for implementing up to releasing the SARO, but right now it's 75% of the SARO is automatically released, okay, under our new system, which I adopted 20 years ago, okay? There's no discretion on the part of DBM whether to release or not. As long as it's in the General Appropriations Act, automatically release yan. Ang hindi lang namin nire-release ay yung mga special funds like calamity fund, kasi hindi mo naman alam kung may calamity ba o hindi, or yung mga contingent fund, no? So, automatically release na yan. From there, it's not my responsibility to implement. Implementing agency yun. It's not my responsibility to choose contractors. Hindi ko yung area. Kanila yun. And the choice of contractors is done by competitive bidding. That's the law. You cannot choose contractors at your whim and choice. Ganun. Hindi ka pwedeng mamimili ng contractor. Okay?
So regarding that 75 billion na adjustment sa DPWH and the contractors na you have mentioned that it's not your expertise, like it's the DPWH expertise. I'm just curious kasi during the last week, at least 8 cabinet officials came out with this letter of support sa inyo. I wondered, bakit kaya wala dun ang DPWH? And have you talked with Secretary Mark Villar?
Meron si Mark. Meron siya. And he admitted that 75 billion, alam niya yung 75 billion.
So bakit hindi insist na ni Congressman Andaya na
Sabi ko
Villar?
nga, baka nag-hallucinate lang siya. Ni
So okay na naman kayo ni Secretary Villar? Merong communication?
May statement na siya kahapon, di ba? Kasi hindi maaaring hindi niya alam yun kasi sinulatan ko siya that we added 75 billion. And we presented it to the cabinet. Kung nasa kabinete ka, hindi mo alam yun, that's the most important part of your job, know your budget. Di ba? Siyempre, checkin mo kaagad, magkano bang budget ko, di ba? And if you don't know that, hindi ka nakikinig dun sa deliberation sa cabinet, di ba?
Rose Novenario.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Sir, sabi nyo hihimayin yung mabuti yung budget. Since na bulgar po yun, o naisiwalat po yung tungkol doon sa City Leoncio, kasama po kaya yun sa mabubusisi ng DBM, considering po na parang inaakusahan po kayo may conflict of interest?
Unang-una, you will not see that name in the budget. Okay? Kasi ang naroon lang yan, yung mga projects na gagawin. But that has to go through competitive bidding. Kung manalo si Leoncio, whatever his name is, then he will get the project. No? But let me deny here that I don't don't know that guy. I don't know his face. I don't know him from Adam. Okay? Inaakusahan nila yung daughter ko raw is related. My daughter is married to a sikat. Okay? Married to a sikat. And his father died, and yung mother niya remarried this Sorsogon politician. So I'm not related to the Sorsogon politician whatsoever. And as I told you, we don't talk about this in our gathering, no? In our family affairs. Okay?
Pero i-call nyo ba yung attention ng DPWH since infra project po yata yung na-corner yung City Leoncio?
All
Or
the projects
na-involve
under
sa intrigue?
all the projects under DPWH are public works projects. Could be flood control, it could be roads, bridges, etc., etc. But sabi ko nga, every project, binibid po yan. Binibid. You have to win. Okay? The politicians cannot choose who will implement what. I don't know kung ginagawa nila yon or how they do it, but hindi ko area ho yan. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Bernadette.
Hi, sir.
Hi,
Sir, since
Bernadette.
you said this will reduce total disbursements by 44 billion, yung reenacted budget
If reenacted for 1 quarter.
Yes, for 1 quarter, sir. So, how will this affect the first quarter GDP growth, sir? And are we still confident that we will be able to hit the government's target of 7 to 8% GDP growth for next year? Kasi, sir, di ba may election ban po ng March to May? So, even though the budget will be reenacted by first quarter, March to May may election ban. So, for the full year, what's our outlook, sir?
So this will depend on a lot of things, no? Like for example, if the weather in the second half of the year is nice, then that's not a problem. If they approve this early enough, we can maybe bid it out early. And some of them are already bid out, no? A short, tawag namin, bidding short of award. You cannot award without the budget approved, no? So ngayon, lahat na proseso ginagawa na namin, and then pagka napasa yung budget, i-award na. Secondly, there's an option also called, you can ask COMELEC to exempt these projects. As long as you identify the projects that you want exempted, pwede rin naman yan. No? So, depende kung ano mangyari. Okay?
But, sir, for the first quarter GDP po, meron po ba tayong projection? Like, how many percentage points po? Kasi, di ba, na-project na po natin yung amount ng reduction sa total disbursements by first quarter. So, baka napag-aral.
43.7 billion.
Yes, yes. So, sa first quarter GDP po.
So, but there are many projects that are ongoing right now. They could actually be accelerated in the first quarter of the year to make up for some of the non-starters. Okay, so let's see. We'll try to minimize the damage to the economy, but I think it's premature at this time to say that this will actually slow down the economy that much. Okay, yung tinanong in worst case yun, no, yung it will slow down the economy by negative 1.1 to 2.3. Okay, it will result in full year impact. It will result in job loss of about 600,000. It will result in a deeper poverty for some 200 to 400 individuals. Yun ang worst case scenario. Okay. Let's hope hindi na dumating sa ganun.
But sir, how would you describe yung effect po niya sa economic growth natin? I mean, even for the first quarter, do you think this is significant?
It's,
costly?
I said, premature to say that it will be significant, mildly significant, not significant. Let's not speculate on that. But definitely, negative ang impact niya. Okay, negative. How severe, we don't know. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, last two na tayo. Ina and... Okay, last three. Ina, Joseph, and Christine.
Kala ko kanina pa yung last four mo.
Hi, sir. Sir, clearly, sir, wala pong maasahang projects yung lawmakers from the Road Users Fund because you mentioned you will not release them. Do you think they're looking at using the reenacted budget to raise funds for their campaign war chest, as you mentioned na posibleng ginagawa nila? And how do you guard against this, especially yun sa paggamit nung...
Wala nga no new projects if reenacted. So we will not release from the motor vehicle stocks until they settle the abolition issue. Okay?
Yes,
So
but
there's no way they can use the reenacted budget
for political purposes.
Okay. So, yung funds for infrastructure projects, which you mentioned earlier, were already funded and completed. They also cannot touch
No,
those.
kaya nga, different yung interpretation namin. Ang interpretation ni GMA / Andayan noong time niya is kanila na yon yung part na nire-enact nila yung capital outlays eh. That is not allowed under the Constitution. Hindi allowed yun. Only the current operating expenditures of the government are deemed reenacted, not the capital outlays.
Okay. And sir, you've been saying that they're trying to divert attention away doon sa nakita ni Senator Ping Lacson. As far as you're concerned, tama po ba? Is there something wrong doon sa nakita nga po ni Senator Ping?
No.
And is the President going to veto yung nakita ni Senator Ping if true yung significant addition doon sa budgets of some select districts?
You see, the Constitution says Congress may decrease but not increase the budget as submitted by the President. So the mere fact na bumukol yung dalawang yan, it meant that they took it away from some other items in the budget. Zero-sum game ang tawag doon. No? Zero-sum game. Yung pagtaas ng Pampanga at saka ng Camarines Sur, that will be at the sacrifice of other districts. No? Now, is that allowed? Of course, it's allowed. Okay? Depends on who the leaders are, right? But kailangan nga lang nilang ipaliwanag. Yun lang naman ang sinasabi ni Ping Lacson ni Senator Lacson. Explain. Di ba? But to me, as you know, we're already putting in a lot of money in that part of the country, right? With our massive infrastructure.
And if it's not justified, their increases, will the President veto it?
Depende kung naroon pa yon by the time dumating sa amin. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, last two, Joseph and then Christine.
Sir, just on the veto, Yeah. Just on the veto power, no. Would you be able to detect if a budget allocation is kind of shady?
Kind of?
Shady, sir.
Shady.
Slim shady.
We will rely on the line departments. We don't have the expertise at my level for that. Well, for example, if we find something suspicious, we'll ask the department secretary concerned. Saan ba nanggaling to? Kailangan ba talaga ito? Di ba?
And you will do that during the...
Yeah, during that one week period.
And of course, the President will exercise the veto power kung halimbawa alam niyang...
Yeah, I'm sure. The President is, as you know, very strong against corruption.
So even if during the budget process, the lawmakers try to maybe, do what they've done before...
Yes. Sabi nga, they can do what they want to do. Di ba? They can mangle it, right? Dismantle the budget, or approve it in toto if they want to. They can do whatever they want. But we have the check, which is that veto power. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, friendly reminder, MPC, we still have Secretary Panelo after this. Christine,
really?
last.
Oh. Again?
Sir.
All right. Last question.
Sir, the President is clearly behind you on this issue, and given the strong statements of support by Secretary Panelo. Sir, when you explained this matter to the President, what did he say, sir? What is his general reaction on this issue?
Wala lang. In fact, I was having ready na ako, kapal-kapal nung ng briefing material. We just talk. Siguro mga maximum mga 5-10 minutes. Tinanong lang niya sa akin, yung bang 75.5 billion na sinasabi nila na in-insert mo, was it in my budget? Yes, sir. Walang problema. Okay? Yun lang.
So he accepted, sir.
Of course. That's really my job. Okay? I'm the budget architect, and I've said I've done this for 10 budgets in the past. Okay? Hindi si Presidente micromanager. Siguro yung ibang presidente na line by line. Hindi siya ganun. He picks his men and he trusts them totally, okay, until you make a mistake. All right? So, ganun. That's a good manager, no? Kasi hindi mo naman talaga, if you're the president, you cannot do all the things, no? You want to do. You have to choose your men, choose them well, and then give them the authority. All
Sir,
right.
si Speaker Arroyo daw is interested daw sa job mo.
Sa job
There
ko?
are reports
My goodness. Sure. Okay. Huh? No, I haven't. Kala ko kay Secretary Dominguez. Hindi naman sa akin.
Okay na.
Finance. Di ba rumors na. Sabi nga, di ba, sabi ni Secretary Dominguez, interesting.
Okay, thank you,
But
Chris.
these are all speculation, okay?
Sir,
Thank-
follow up. She's interested in the finance secretary position. Si
There was a rumor like that. First time yun na hindi
Chika lang, soundbite.
Okay,
Pero
Secretary.
sir, anong reply ni Sec Dominguez? Baka siya yung mag-budget,
Pero
sir.
that this is assistance. And then I heard him say, interesting.
Interesting.
That's it.
Okay, Secretary, sorry po, pero MPC is not yet ready to release you. Last question,
Last
Reo
question.
Calonzo.
Sino?
Microphone, please.
Sir, you were a vocal critic of President Arroyo during her administration. You were
Even
critical.
Aquino, okay?
Yes. So, do you think
No, because I was as you know, I was a newspaper columnist at
Yes,
the time. So, kailangan medyo provocative kapag nagsusulat di ba? Parang binabasa ka naman.
so? Does this have anything to do with all the issues you're facing today?
Ako yung mga writings ko is based on theory, based on wisdom, etc. Hindi ako walang personalan doon.
Okay.
If you notice, no? In fact, I'll come up with 3 books on my articles. I've been very consistent on pork barrel. I don't like pork barrel. In fact, if you don't know, I'm one of those who filed a suit in the Supreme Court for this DAP. Okay, I'm one of the ponente.
Sir,
DNP.
sir, last na lang po. Do you think these congressmen who are lodging attacks towards you are working with the speaker's blessing?
That calls for a speculation.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay,
sir.
thank you, Reo. Thank you, MPC. Thank you, Budget Secretary Benjamin Jokno. Balik muna tayo sa... Is the Secretary in? Already? Balik muna tayo sa main studio sa People's Television Network.